Hello guys. Just checking the volume, checking if sound is working well. I'm sure it's a bit noisy. Let me just fix that quickly. Um, Noise suppression. Okay, this should reduce the. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys for showing up, and I've been thinking about this. What's the next step after we did the XOR gate? Okay, let me just remove this. Anyway, so I was thinking, what's the next step after we did the? Let me just put the camera here. So I was thinking about what's the next step after we did the XOR gate Q-learning agent, which was a very simple agent. It did not have any temporal data. Actions did not change the environment. It was pretty simple implementation. So what we want to do now is get to something. I wanted to do one with financial data, with stock market data. Before we touch anything in here, I was advised to give this disclaimer. This is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and you should not use anything that we talk about today in trading. This is just to this is purely for as an educational thing in regards to Q learning and reinforcement learning. So please don't use any of this for actual trading. I'm not qualified to give financial advice, actually. So this is out of the way. Let's do some fun stuff. First, let me go in here. Okay, so this is a better. I did this today. I hope it works well, actually. I don't know if the orientation would be fine. I tried to make the orientation look good, but we'll see in a second. Anyway, so we will have an environment again, and we'll have an agent. The environment will feed a state at a specific time, representing a specific time to the agent. So maybe the first day of trading, then so this T will represent which interval of trading we're talking about. The agent will decide some action. We'll have three actions in here. We'll have buy, hold, a buy or sell. So we'll have buy signals and we'll have sell signals. So hopefully eventually the signal will look something like this. It will give you like buy, 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 then it will go down sell, 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 then it will go back buy, then go back sell. So we'll have two actions that the agent can do. It will give sometimes a buy signal, and it will give sometimes a sell signal. So if it gives us a sell signal after we sold, it means just stay out of the market. It gave us if it gives us a buy signal, we'll simulate buying there, and all the other buy signals after that, they will just mean hold. So hold your position. Okay, so this action, which is buy or sell, the agent will decide whether to buy or sell based on some state. So action at time t. That action, after we do this action, the environment will send back a reward at time t. So this reward is very interesting. So we start with some number. Let's say we start with 10,000 in cash. Okay, so in our simulation we're starting with 10,000 cash. Over time, when we buy stocks, maybe we cannot buy stocks for all of that because the stock price is like maybe $200. So if it's $200, if it's let's say it's 201, so you will always end up with some change in here. So you will end up with your value over time will be whatever is in your cash and whatever your value of your holding. So let's say you have 10,000 in cash and you have 0 in stocks. Then if you buy some stocks, that will be maybe like $48 in cash, and your stocks will be worth whatever they are worth. And the reward that we will receive is how much is your value of a specific date or a specific time different than the time before that. We will be using closing prices for the value, and we'll be also using closing prices for buying and selling. So we'll always assume that we're buying at the closing time. It's just to make things easier. So since that's out of the way, let's go to our code and see how we can implement this environment. We're not going to work with the agent today. We're going to be working with the environment. Oh, one last thing. The state in here, the state, I'm not going to actually send the price. I want a discrete state. So I'm going to be using an indicator. It's a technical indicator called RSI. So RSI is a technical indicator that fluctuates between 0 and 100. So it's a fixed number. It's easy to build a policy if we have something like this. RSI depends on, it takes a window basically and decides a number between, and calculates basically a number between 0 and 100. We call it RSI 14 because it takes 14 days in its calculation. I will switch you now to this. So I'll be getting my data from Yahoo Finance. To actually fetch the data, you can go in here to historical data. And under historical data, you can you can decide the range that you want to get. So I'm just gonna get like maybe 5 years worth of data. I will need historical prices. I don't need dividends or stock splits, and frequency is daily. Perfect. Apply, and I guess download. We'll download this. and I'll just save this file. Okay, perfect. So we have now our data now. It's a comma separated file, so we'll be able to parse that later in Golang. So let's talk a little bit about RSI. So this is again Yahoo Finance. So this is Apple stock. This is the price of Apple stock over some time, and you can see the RSI is down here. To add RSI, if you don't have this, you can go to indicators and you can type the name of the indicator that you want, and you can add it that way. Anyway, so you can see right now the RSI of Apple is 66. You can see during this dip that we had with COVID-19, it went down to like 37, 34. You can see how it fluctuated. In here it was like 29. During this high time it was like 81, 83. So you can see it fluctuates between 0 and 100, and it shows RSI is let's look more at RSI so you will get what RSI is. So this is the formula for RSI. To calculate RSI, we calculate the RS first, which is average gains divided by average losses. Then we take this RS and we plug it into this formula that gives us RSI, which is 100 minus 100 over 1 plus RS. And in here, for this part, we always add a small number, really small number to average losses. So if our average losses is 0, we don't end up dividing by 0. So we add like something, we call it epsilon, like a 0.000001, something very small. That's the whole point. So this is one of the best explanations I've seen about regarding RSI, because it's really visual. So this is RS value and this is the RSI. You can see RSI in here went down from like 65 to like around 30, and this is how it's calculated. This is visualizing. In here it's visualizing it just in Excel. So the first 14 days you cannot really calculate RSI because you don't have enough data yet, but on the 15th day, you can see in here, this is the 15th day, we take the average gains, so the days where the stock went up, and we average these numbers. So if we average these numbers, we get 0.24. This is percentage. These are gains in percentage points. Then we average all of our losses of the past 14 days, which are these days, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, and we get this average of our losses in the past 14 days. So actually this number does not really make a lot of sense. I think it's averaging all of the numbers with the zeros. Yeah, I think this is what it's doing in here. Anyway, so we'll switch now to code, and we'll start building something. We'll start actually working with this. So this is the environment that we had before. I'll just quit this one first, and I will go back to environment. I will actually modify my previous code. I will not be doing anything really different. Actually, one last thing, since we're explaining everything before we touch the code, just to make this really clear. In here, when we say the state is RSI, I'm not going to actually feed the RSI as the state. What I'm going to feed as a state is I will take RSI and I will check where does the RSI falls into. So if it falls between 0 and 10, it will be I will basically split the 100 into 10 intervals, and I will say which interval does the RSI fall into. So my state for today's RSI is going to be one number only. So it will be either 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's one of these numbers, representing the 10 intervals that we have between 0 and 100. To give it a little bit of, let's call it context, to give our agent a little bit of a context, so I don't only give it today's RSI, I will give it yesterday's RSI in the same exact way. So my state is actually two numbers. I will feed the state as two numbers, so I might tell it like 1, 2. It means yesterday the RSI was between 10 and 20, and today's RSI is between 20 and 30. That's it. So this is, the model will not know what's the price, it will not know anything about the stock, it will not know if the stock is paying dividends, if the company is doing well or not. It's literally only looking at a discrete representation of the RSI of today and yesterday. That's it. So this is one more reason why you should not be using this very simple model for trading. It's really very, very basic stuff in here. And again, you should not be using this for trading. Right, so let's go to code and let's start the fun stuff. Okay, so in here this is my current state. I guess I could delete this for now. I don't need I don't have a list of states. It's a comma separated file that we will be reading. I don't have answers because it's really, there is no answer in here. There is no right answer. I don't know about state. I don't think I have a state anymore. Yeah, I don't think I have a state anymore, so I think I can get rid of this one also, and I have my agent. So get state will read something in here, so I guess I can put inside my environment a list of states. So I will call it states, which is an array of a slice, basically an array of two numbers. So this would look something like let me switch here. Our state list would look something like this. It's a two-dimensional array where I have literally just two numbers. So I will have 1 and 1 and 1, 1 and 2, 2 and 2, 2 and 3, and so this is my state list representing the RSI basically. So back in here, back to our code. So we'll have to read our comma separated value file and parse it into this. Okay, I have the step, so which step are we in? So it will start at the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, and it will keep going. So in here, the state would be e.states, I'll call it, oh sorry, step. I will also change this to e.states. So I'm reading one state, I'm using the step as my index, and I don't think I wanted to repeat. I think I wanted to do one simulation and it will run through the whole thing, I guess. then once it reaches the end it will stop the simulation or something like this. Yeah, I guess that's because this is different than what we had before. And I guess I will do one thing in here. I guess I could monitor it somewhere else to make sure I don't overflow this. I guess I could do it inside the simulation to make sure I'm not going over the last step. So get actions is still 0 or 1. It will either be 0 for sell, so 0 it means sell, and 1 is buy. So let me change this. Okay, so these are the two possible actions that we'll have. Now once we receive an action, now I have to do one last thing. I have to keep track of how much cash does the agent has and how many stocks does the agent have. So let me add these two things. I'll add cash, which is a float 64, and I will add also stocks, or number of stocks. That's okay, I'll just call it stocks, and I will make this into an integer. Nice. This does not like what we're doing in here. I guess I could change this into 2 in here, or no. I guess I could. It will make other things easier going forward. Okay, so get action, it will return these two. Now once we want to do an action, I will have to check is it a buy signal or a sell signal. So I will do I guess we could start by removing this line, because yeah, none of this makes sense anymore. This was all related to I guess I could do this for now, 0.0. So I'm assuming the reward is 0 for now. Okay, so the reward of today is how much did my value change from today to the previous day after we do the action. So I need to check if A equals 0. So if the action is sell, I need to check, do I have any stocks to sell? So I'll do if action is 0 and E dot stocks does not equal to 0. So let me write a comment in here. Sell stocks. Okay, so if the action is 0 and the number of stocks I don't have is not equal to 0, then sell the stocks. So first thing we do is we need the price of today. Okay, I guess I could add one more thing in here. I'll call it prices, which is an array of float 64. I will be using adjusted close, by the way, because we don't want to deal with dividends, we don't want to deal with splits, stock splits or anything. So yeah, we'll just have the prices in here, just the raw prices. So once we have the price now and we have a sell command, I will not be taking commission into account in here. One more reason why you should not be using this for trading stocks. Commission is huge thing if you are doing any kind of active trading. So anyway, so our E dot stocks, let's find out what's the selling price first. So E dot cash plus equals e.stocks, so we'll sell all of our stocks and we'll add it to cash, times e.prices of e.step. So I'm taking the current step that I'm in, I'm taking the price of today, multiplied by how many stocks we have, so this is how much money that we will make, and I will add it to cash. Then I will make my e.stocks equal to 0. So basically we don't have any more stocks. Then if a equals 1 and e.stocks equals to 0, so this would be a buy signal. So buy, actually let me just call it signal, and this is a sell signal, because the other signals for hold and stay out of the market are not, we don't actually do any action there. So if the signal is 1, which is buy, and we don't have any stocks, so we should buy stocks. First of all, let's figure out how many stocks can we buy with our cash. So I will do, I guess I need, no, I could do it in an easier way. So e.cash, so let's find out how much cash we have. We'll divide that by the price of today, so e.price of e.step, current step, and I will call that the number of stocks. I will do e.stocks equals this. Then I have to deduct that amount of cash from my current cash, so e.cash minus equals the I guess the number of stocks that we bought times the today's price. So I will deduct from my cash the cash that we used to buy the stocks. And finally, so I updated the stocks, I deducted the cash. So what did I do in here? I added cash and reset my stocks. Okay, I guess that's all. Cool. So let's get our value. I don't have my value from the previous day, so but I guess I could get my value. I guess I could keep my value from the previous day. I'll just call it C value, so current value. I'll just call that, I'll make that a float 64, and once we do the action I will update my C value. So e.C value equals, so what's our current value? It's how much we have in cash, of course. Then we'll add to that e.C value plus equals, and we'll add to that how much we have in stocks in today's price. And now once we have these two things, we know our current value. But before we take our current value, I need to keep my old value as so I will just create a variable in here called old value equals e.c value. Nice. Now my reward is old value minus old value, or sorry, new value. Yeah, my current value minus my old value. Yeah, makes more sense. Okay, so my current value, if my current value today is $100 and I had $99 to the yesterday, my reward is 1 because I increased my value by $1. So the agent will be able to see its current value continuously. Let me save this. And I think I have a small problem in here. These should all be float 64. Float 64, you cannot multiply a float 64 by an integer. So I'll just make everything into float 64. And I think I still have to fix things going to, actually that price is a float 64. I really don't have to fix this part. I really don't have to fix this part. Sorry. My fault. I know what's the problem in here. The problem in here is this. Stocks actually is an integer, and I had to do this. I have to take an integer in here. And cash equals, this one, float 64. Change stocks into float 64. And I think we are not done yet. Let me just delete this. I think it's called prices, is it? Yeah, it's called prices. That's why everything is red. Prices, prices, and prices. And this, this needs to be also fixed. I'll just do float 64. Cool. Actually, we are set really nicely now. Tomorrow we'll work on the loading the data. So we're still 2 steps away from starting the actual simulation. Tomorrow we'll work on loading the data. Tomorrow we'll read our CSV file, and we should be able to convert our CSV file. We are, William is asking, we are doing reinforcement learning for, actually we're doing reinforcement learning for trading stocks in this example. UI as in user interface, yes, we will build actually a user interface, William, for this. Today we are focusing more on the environment part, getting the environment right. So we're getting the state part right, the actions, building the calculation of the action, calculating our value, and calculating our reward as we go. If you did not catch the beginning of the video, you might want to go back to the beginning of the video, William, so you will get a hint, get more information about how this is working. I tried to explain it actually in the beginning of the video on a piece of paper. I know it's not perfect, but if you have any questions, just hit me on Twitter. Anyway, guys, thank you for showing up, and tomorrow we'll work on loading data into this environment. Thank you, guys, and I will see you tomorrow.